They called it a long train of abuses. That's the phrase Jefferson chose, not as poetry, but as indictment, not metaphor, but forensic record. The Declaration of Independence was not a philosophical musing. It was a list of charges, a moral prosecution against a monarch who had transformed governance into domination. And if we are honest, if we dare to speak without fear, without euphemism, we must admit what has become obvious. Donald Trump is not merely reminiscent of King George III. He is his spiritual reincarnation. And the Red Hat faithful? They are not patriots. They are redcoats, defenders of a new monarchy disguised as populism. We've been taught to treat 1776 as origin myth, but it was revolt, revolution, a refusal to be governed by a man who had no respect for reason, consent, or the limits of power. And now, almost 250 years later, the same abuses have returned, not as echoes, as policy, as law, as budget lines and executive orders. The system we swore was born in liberty is now functionally reborn in tyranny. Let's go to the document. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. Trump's war on the courts is not rhetorical. He's packed the judiciary with loyalists, declared judges illegitimate, and now backs a budget that strips courts of enforcement power unless plaintiffs pay bonds to exercise their rights. Section 70302 isn't policy. It's sabotage. He's rewriting the very idea of judicial independence. He has made judges dependent on his will alone. Trump calls for their arrest. He threatens prosecutors. He demands loyalty from attorneys general. His vision of justice is personal, not constitutional. The judge is not to be impartial, but obedient. That is not governance. That is royal decree. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He hasn't shut down Congress, not literally, but what is a legislative body when the executive ignores subpoenas, when members are threatened with violence, when impeachment is treated as treason? He doesn't need to dissolve it. He's made it irrelevant. His cult doesn't govern with checks. They govern with chance. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature. Look at Puerto Rico. Look at D.C. Look at immigrant communities. Representation is only valid if they vote for him. Otherwise, they're illegitimate, foreign, contaminated. His vision of America is not a republic of equals. It's a fiefdom of the faithful. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. ICE raids, border patrols without oversight, task forces to monitor dissent, entire agencies restructured to serve loyalty instead of law. And now he's doing mass deportations to mega prisons in El Salvador. No due process, no trial, no hearing. Just classification, capture, disappearance. That's not law enforcement. That's rendition, and it's happening on American soil. He has affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. He called the generals my generals. He demanded loyalty pledges. He floated using active duty troops to crush protests. And now his allies openly speak of purging the military of dissenters and installing loyalists who will act on command, not constitution. He has combined with others to subjugate us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws. By what legal system do you send someone without trial to a foreign mega prison? By what doctrine do you deny due process based on nationality or classification? He does not recognize the Constitution's use of the word person. He treats citizen as divine right and alien as a forfeiture of humanity. This is not speculation. This is happening. And still, people chant his name like scripture. Let me be absolutely clear. If you praise a man who suspends trials, silences critics, and rewrites the limits of power to fit his will, you are not preserving liberty. You are betraying it. And if you wear a red hat while doing it, you are not the descendant of patriots. You are the ideological heir of redcoats. Because here's the truth. The American Revolution was not about tax rates. It was about sovereignty of the self, the right to not be governed by a man who believes power is divine and rights are conditional. It is about reason over dogma, consent over decree, liberty over obedience. And Trump has inverted every one of those values. His movement rejects enlightenment entirely. It does not believe that truth must be proven. It does not believe that power must be justified. It believes in loyalty over law, spectacle over substance, and it feeds on fear of immigrants, of ideas, of change itself. The American Revolution said no more kings. Trump says make monarchy great again. The founders said government exists to secure the rights of the governed. Trump says government exists to punish the unfaithful. And here's the final fracture. King George did not fall because he was unpopular. He fell because enough people finally realized that obedience, cloaked in tradition, was still servitude. So now the choice is ours. Do we remember 1776 as theater or as promise? Because if the grievances that birthed this nation are being violated again, then the real question is not whether Trump is a tyrant. The question is, do we still recognize tyranny when it wears our own flag?